Alrighty, good evening everybody. I am overloading the media encoder already. Let me see about changing that. There we go. Right, good evening everybody. Welcome to tonight's stream. If I transition over into this view, this is what we're playing tonight. Cities in Motion 2. It's been such a long time. It's been, I think, 2 years since I last touched this game. So I am really happy to be back. Let's put it that way. Happy to be back, excited to be back. I'm very pleased to see that the game, not only is it working, but it is so smooth. I remember this game on my old PC and how jittery it was. And it's just so reassuring. It's a massive relief to see it running okay for a change. Let me know if the stream buffers at all tonight. Apparently it buffered a few times last night, but nothing too sort of out of the ordinary, nothing too unreasonable. You'll also have to forgive the fact that every time I tab out of the game, for whatever reason, the game itself minimizes. I don't know if there's a way to fix that or not. You're right, this ain't Skylines, this is Cities in Motion 2. Skylines might be on the channel tomorrow. Space Engineers definitely will be, something else will be as well. It might be Skylines, it might be something else, I don't know yet. But this was meant to go up last week, this stream. Various technical reasons, me not feeling well, my voice going, meant that I couldn't do the stream last week, so I do apologise for that. Let me just stay in underground view for a second, because it's a lot quieter, a lot more relaxing. But yeah, we're here tonight with Cities in Motion 2. I've got the questions up on my laptop as well, so I'll be going through those, the ones that should have been answered during the stream last week. And we're just going to watch the network for a bit. We might add a couple of things here and there. We might do a little bit of rebuilding, but the majority of it is just going to be sitting back, chatting, answering questions, and watching what I built way back when. So the very first question, I think this was from James. I won't necessarily say who the questions are from. If you asked it, you obviously know who it's from. But yeah, the first question. What is the most popular non-OpenTTD video you have on your channel? Now, originally this was asked as part of the OpenTTD network, the M4J network series. But I wanted to talk about it here. Wow, these vehicles are really loud in my ear. I don't know if you guys can hear them as loud as I can. Also let me know if you can't hear me over the game, by the way, and I'll tweak the audio. But it should be okay, because I've turned the game volume down on OBS. But we'll see. Anyway. Yes, the most popular video on my channel that isn't OpenTTD also happens to be the most popular video on my channel. So as of tonight, my most popular video on my channel with 19,424 views and 138 likes is Jeffries Plays Cities in Motion 2 Episode 1 Let's Make a Hub. That is, well, for a long time now, it has been my most watched video. Probably the entire history of the channel, in fact. I don't think anything's ever gone past it for it to overtake it again. I think this has always been the most popular video on my channel. And then the second most popular is episode 2 of that series. The third most popular is episode 3 of that series. You kind of take, you can get the theme. You can get what's going on there. Cities in Motion 2 was a big series for my channel. Because at the time, I'd done a couple of Call of Duty videos, I'd done some FIFA videos, Halo, things like that. Cities in Motion 2 was kind of the first proper series where I sat down and thought, okay, I'm going to make this a long-lasting series. I'm not just going to do 10 episodes and then stop. I'm going to do this for as long as possible. And I think in the end, I'll have to check this actually. I think we did something like 255 videos in the first series, and then I think we did like 60, maybe 70 odd, maybe even more than that actually in the second series. So I got a lot of content out of this game. Which is funny, really, because when Cities in Motion 2 was first announced, I was a big fan of Cities in Motion. Played that for hours, and when Cities in Motion 2 was announced, I didn't like it. I didn't actually think it looked that good. How wrong I was. I certainly didn't think this is going to be the game that makes me, internet famous, if that's how you want to call it. I still don't think it made me internet famous, but it certainly put my channel on the map. And I actually compare that to other channels of similar size or bigger. So when Cities in Motion 2 first came out, Quill18 did a couple of videos on it, and I think one of those videos got 20,000 views in like 2 years. My videos got 19,000 views in 4 years. So in terms of trends and growth and things like that, it's not too different. It's not too different. It's still a fair gulf, but it's not massive. And I kind of take positives from that. I like the fact that, you know, every now and then I can kind of compare myself and say, hey, I'm almost at the same size. Cities in Motion episode 70 was the first video I watched of yours, stuck around ever since. Yeah, so a lot of people who watch the channel even now found me because of Cities in Motion. So yeah, you know, in terms of popularity, it did me a huge favour. In terms of finding a vision for my channel, it did me a huge favour. And also, it was around about the time that I was playing Cities in Motion 2 that I applied to transfer from doing an engineering degree to a media degree. So yeah, this game actually has a big part to play in my life in general, not just YouTube, but you know, career, education, mental health. It all kind of improved from this game, so I do owe it a lot. I do owe it a lot, definitely. So the second question: have you ever heard of Marcel Voss? I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. Is it Dirklink, or Duerklink? Or Spirit of the Law. They all make videos about RCT2 and Age of Empires. I'm not that big on Age of Empires. I've played it a little bit. I think it was Age of Empires 3 my friend used to have, so I used to play it when I was around theirs. But I've not really played it enough to get into it. I've certainly not watched any videos on it. Although, again, if one of my favourite creators did some videos on it, I certainly wouldn't rule out the idea of watching it. I'm just trying to find someone who's travelling a long way across the city that we can just sit and watch. Transport Fever 2's graphics look a bit dated. It is that thing though of you know, this game inspired Transport Fever. Well, it inspired Train Fever, which then obviously went on to inspire Transport Fever. So this game, you know, it's the precursor to City Skylines. I'd still like to think they'll do a sequel to this, but I doubt it. It's been rumoured. I think it was George actually who mentioned that a sequel to Skylines has been mentioned. I think a sequel to Skylines would be a sequel to this as well. I think they'll tie them together quite nicely. But yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, Marcel Voss. I have heard of Marcel Voss. I've watched a lot of his RCT2 videos. I think the forensic analysis of the game that he does, he kind of takes one for the team in many respects, because it's certainly something I wouldn't see myself doing. So I'm very grateful that he's done it. And it's some good stuff. You know, he talks about some good stuff in those videos, things that you wouldn't really have thought about. Little tips and tricks like how to complete levels whilst limiting yourself. Different ride types, and you know, how good are they really? Because I never really imagined that there was that much difference between coaster types in Roller Coaster Tycoon, but there is. And when it comes to the rating system, there's a massive difference. So there's a lot of sort of hidden stuff that he's kind of dug around and found out. So yeah, I think it's a really cool channel. I do watch it from time to time. I'm not subbed to him yet. I think I might sub to him in the future though. I'll see what his next couple of videos are. But yeah, I have watched his stuff. I kind of think that there's a series there for sort of breaking down hidden parts in games. Not so much Easter eggs, but like hidden stats and stuff like that you wouldn't necessarily think about. And yeah, as I said, Age of Empires I'm not really into, so I've never really heard of the other two. I doubt they've heard of me either, to be fair. What is your favourite source of entertainment? Favourite YouTube channel to watch? Favourite TV show to watch currently? So my favourite source of entertainment at the moment, it sounds quite weird, but planning out stuff is a big favourite for me at the moment. So just this afternoon, myself, Alex and Ben were setting up something to do with XVI. I won't give away too much right now, even though I really want to, because it ties in with something that I was talking about yesterday as well. But it's just so satisfying. When you put hours and hours and hours worth of work into something, it's just so satisfying to sit back and see the fruits of your labour. And that's exactly what I was doing. I think I was boring Alex by the end of it, because I kept you know, I was screen sharing on Discord, and I just kept saying things like, "Oh, you've got to see this. You've got to see what this looks like." And I'm sure to most people, it really isn't as awesome as I thought it was. But I really like that. So you know, working out stuff, fixing problems. That's one of my favourite sources of entertainment right now. And a lot of it's YouTube related. You know, if I'm playing a game like OpenTTD, trying to fix problems there. I've actually been fixing the HLR since last night's stream, and I'm happy to say it's actually a lot better than it was at the start of yesterday's stream. So I think I might be onto something. I think I might have found a fix to the scheduled dispatch problem. And I believe it is a user error problem, so I think I caused it myself. Which sounds derpy, but at the same time, it means I can fix it. So I'm not too bothered by that. My favourite YouTube channel to watch? I like watching lots of different types of videos. So I'm always casting videos onto the TV downstairs. Things like TPM Vids. I've talked about a lot of my favourite channels last week. But TPM Vids, I try and share their video every week. Tim Tracker, I try and watch all of his stuff with my brother. Nostalgia Critic is another one that I'm a big fan of, so I watch his stuff. I used to hate his channel. It's one of those things, but like way back in the day I used to like his videos, and then when he moved into his new studio, I think 3 years ago, and he hired actors and they started acting out skits, I kind of felt like they'd lost their way a little bit. But as I've gotten older, I kind of understand it again, and I think that was the issue, was I didn't understand it. I didn't get the humor, whereas now I do. So there's a lot of hidden references that they make in their videos to you know, famous in-jokes regarding movies and stuff like that. And it's actually, you know, it's quite layered, quite clever when you break it down. I like watching fail videos as well. I know we talked about this last week. I don't watch it as much as I used to, but every now and then if there's one on, I'll watch it. It tends to be quite funny. The thing I watch the most at the moment is Rainbow Six Siege videos. Prepping for my own series on it, which will be starting soon. I've got the footage all ready to go. What I'm trying to do now is source some high quality images of the maps, so I can do like breakdowns as to where we're spawning and all that kind of thing. It's going to be very in-depth. You know, as I say, it's not going to be like a how-to series, but it's going to be a how I do series, which is very different to a how-to series, I like to think. Evening Golfing Gamer, how are you doing? Good news would have been much harder to fix if it wasn't a user error. I think it's a combination of two. So I think I flooded the network and clogged it up that way, which was a problem. But the fact that trains keep disappearing off the timetable is still, I still consider that to be a problem with the game rather than I did it wrong. Because under no circumstance should something just disappear from the schedule like that. I think that's a little bit too broken for me. But I hate the word broken, particularly when it comes to games. I don't think it's broken. I think there's an issue that needs fixing, which doesn't necessarily mean it's broken. There's a very key distinguishing factor there. Particularly now as a game developer, I'd be a massive hypocrite if I kept going around saying games were broken. What is my favourite TV show to watch currently? So in terms of TV programs that are on at the moment, there's one called The Goes Wrong Show, which is on every Friday on BBC One. Oh my days, it's so funny. It's just a couple of years ago now, 2018 I think it was. Actually no, 2017 I think it was, the Royal Variety Show. There was an act on called The Play That Goes Wrong, and it's literally that. It's an amateur dramatic society trying to act out a play called Murder at Havisham Manor, and literally everything that could possibly go wrong with it goes wrong. And the people who did it, there's a company called Mischief Theatre. They've gone on and done a few other shows since. So they did Peter Pan Goes Wrong, which was on TV 3 Christmases ago. Then 2 Christmases ago they did Christmas Carol Goes Wrong. And then last Christmas, 2019, this new series started called The Goes Wrong Show. So each week they act out a different play, different genre, that kind of thing. And they find new ways to make it go wrong each time. And I mean, I've been to see The Play That Goes Wrong now, and I thought it was so funny. They got a new show in London at the moment as well called Magic Goes Wrong, which is a collaboration with Penn and Teller. And I always think if you end up working with, you know, legends like Penn and Teller, then you've clearly made it far in life. And I do recommend it. If you ever have the chance to go see The Play That Goes Wrong, do go and see it. I promise you, you'll find it funny. If you're into the same kind of comedy as me, you will laugh your arse off. It is awesome. Evening, Tom. You're talking to me twice. Who can we follow now? I want to follow someone from like one side of the city to the other. Let's head. Whoops. It's a bit too sensitive at the moment. The game runs a bit too smooth right now. I might have to try and clog it up again. Where am I going? Let's go to the hub over here and see if there's someone who I can follow. You're going to a commercial building. No, that's right next to where we are. Maybe someone at the metro stop. These are all workers trying to get home. Aha, perfect. So it's not a huge journey, this one, but it's worth watching anyway. So yeah, I like watching the Goes Wrong show. I also like shows like QI. I need to catch up on QI because it's been a while since I last sat down and watched the episodes. I think half of them are off iPlayer now, which is unfortunate. A League of Their Own, I enjoy watching. Taskmaster, John Richardson's Ultimate Warrior. I still think that's one of the best titles of a TV show ever. Just things like that. I'm big into comedy. Would I Lie to You as well? Graham Norton Show. Just anything like that I really, really enjoy. I just like having a good laugh when I'm watching TV. I do sometimes watch quiz shows as well. House of Games, sometimes The Chase. I hate Eggheads. It's the worst show on TV. Pointless has its moments. But yeah, overall, you know, things where I can test myself, things where I can laugh, that kind of thing. That's basically what I'm into. Okay, so now we get into education territory. What is the highest grade you got on any university course? So module-wise, the highest grade I got for a module was a 72. And I think that was for my dissertation. In terms of individual assignments, I got a 75 on my... Now, what was it? I think it was my planning for my dissertation. There was one where I got the highest grade out of everyone. I had to share it with like 3 other people, but we got the highest grade out of everyone. That was my crowning achievement at uni. But yeah, I've had a few sort of middle of the road, sort of low 60s to mid 70s, but definitely the 75. That was my proudest moment. In terms of the lowest grade, which is the next one, the lowest grade I ever got was a 38. In my second year, I actually failed an assignment and had to resubmit, which means you're capped at 40. So that in theory, that's probably the reason why I didn't get a first in the end overall. I got a 2-1. And I think that average pulled me down. So I reckon that assignment, if I actually tried, I probably could have got a 60-something, and that would have pulled the module average up. But I don't know, there's no point dwindling on it now, it's been and gone. Jimmy Carr, Michael McIntyre, my favourite comedians. Yeah, I like James Acaster as well. Tom Allen, I find him quite funny. I used to like Jack Whitehall, but he does more jokes that I'm not really into these days. It depends, really. Some of his stand-up stuff I'm not really a fan of, but when he was on A League of Their Own, I think that was his... you know, I think that's when he sort of hit his high point. When he does chat shows and stuff like that, I think he's funny. But his stand-up, I don't know. He becomes a different person when he does his stand-ups. But I like one-liner comedians. I like wordplay comedians. So Tim Vine, Stuart Francis, Gary Delaney, sort of like him. Don't mind him. He's okay. If you had $10,000 to spend on tech-related products, what would you buy? This is a really interesting question because, truth be told, I think I've got quite a boring answer. What I would actually buy right now is... Right now, XVI is kind of held back by 2 things. The first thing is all of our internet connections aren't the same. So some people have got worse internet than others. And the other issue is not everyone's PC is up to spec for game design. So I think what I would do, so my computer, the one I'm streaming on right now, this one cost £1,600, I think, and that included me buying the parts, building it myself. But I also went really mental on things like internal storage. So I've got 2 hard drives two internal hard drives. One is 2 terabyte, I think. The other one's 4 terabyte. Plus, I bought things like 4K monitor, power tower to plug it all in. I went all out on this one, basically. So what I would spend the $10,000 on is buying PCs for those who don't have them in the company, so that we all have sort of a benchmark PC that we can all work from. So even if, when it comes to like file sharing, if Ben makes something in the RPG Maker engine, he can then send it to me, and I've got the same sort of base level PC, so I can open up the file and use it in the same way, and then I might send it off to Dylan, and he can open up and use it in the same way. And I know that sounds like a really boring answer, because I know people want me to say things like, you know, VR simulator, one of those things that you can run on, or an F1 simulator or flight simulator or something like that. And really, I'm not that interested in that kind of stuff. I probably would buy it for the novelty, but then I'd never really use it. So I'd want to buy things that are useful. So upgrading people's internets and then getting everyone on the same level of PC, I'm pretty happy with that. It means we can produce stuff faster, and then we can earn $10,000 in a day. So then I can go mental and start buying all the really high-powered stuff. But right now, yeah, boring answer. So let's take a break from answering questions for a second, and let's talk you through what we've got here. So we've been watching people walking around. This is Central City. This is sort of the default map that you tend to get on Cities in Motion 2. And it's always my go-to map. So in the past, I've played on some of the other maps in the game. I've tried some of the, you know, community-created maps as well. But I always find myself coming back here. It's the one I'm most familiar with. I've played it 3 times now in different series. We've had things like the Jeffries Central Hub, which is, it used to be here. This is now just a hub. I can't actually remember if this one has a name. I don't think it does. We've got various hubs around here now. We've gone with like the satellite system for this map, which I'll talk you through again in a second. So the original version of this, it had the MCH, which was here, and then pretty much every single line radiated out of there. So all the tram lines, monorail lines, everything, it all came out of this one place. The only thing that didn't was the water bus, for obvious reasons. Apart from the little lake here, there's no water nearby. The second time we did the map, we had another MCH, but slightly better refined can't speak now. We had a better refined design, but our main hub was sort of around, I think it was around this area. Might have been a little bit further over. Ignored this one for now, because I'll talk about this one in a second. But we had Tram Square, it was called. All the tram lines in the city converged in Tram Square. And it was a massive major interchange from all the different forms of transport in the city. And I think that was probably one of my best hubs that I built. But it was a little bit clogged. That was the only issue. It was a little bit clogged. So for this map, the central hub, and I tried to get it as central to the map as possible. So even with the mountains and stuff over here, the central area is around about this bit here. If I zoom in on this, this is New Tram Square, which is misleading for various reasons. First of all, in terms of the city, it's not new at all. It's very old. It's been there since, I think, the 5th episode of that series. And also, it's not very square. As you can see, it's quite rectangular and it's got curved edges. But besides that pedantry, this is New Tram Square, and this place is huge. If I go into underground view, you can see all the metro lines converge here. We got one set of metro lines here and another one directly beneath. The monorail runs across the centre here as well. All of the tram lines converge here, apart from 2, I think, that cross in other directions in other parts of the city. All of this island, so this island here, all of its bus lines converge here. All the trolley lines. We've also got the bus rapid system, and also the tram hybrid system. So the Shogun line, the Centurion line, the Spartan line, and what's the other one? Oh, we don't have another one yet, but we will do in the future. They all converge here. So it's very, very busy. Lots and lots of people coming in and out. And if this was on the coast or some kind of shoreline, we'd have a water bus line here as well. For that reason, this hub is slightly busier, because this does have... it doesn't have the tram hybrid system, but it has got an underground bus hub. It's got massive monorail interchange. It's got a huge metro station here as well. And it's also got the water bus, which connects over to the west side. at this hub over here, which also doesn't have a name, and also really isn't finished at this point. There's a lot more stuff that needs adding to it. Sensible suggestion. Yeah, as I say, it's quite boring, but it is sensible. As I say, it's one of the things that's holding back XVI right now is we all want to work, but we're all limited by our technology. So I feel quite fortunate in that I could get this PC. Kurt's also got a PC very similar to mine. But, you know, there's some of us that work on laptops, there's some of us that work on old office PCs, there's some of us that work on gaming rigs. It's all very diverse and very different, which sounds like a good thing until you start sharing files with each other, and then suddenly it becomes an issue because there are files that won't open on certain devices, and that's only really when it becomes an issue. The internet becomes an issue when we're trying to record the podcast, or if we're trying to do meetings, or if we're screen sharing, things like that. So yeah, it's very middle of the road, very boring, very dull, but as you say, sensible suggestions. Okay, back to the map again for a second. So I'm using something called a satellite system for this map, which is dotted all over the place of various hubs. So there's a bus hub up here, there's another one down here, there's another one over here, and then if we cross over to this side, there's a bus tram hub here, there's one here, which is at the Rathaus, which is built on top of the majority of the hub. Having a tourist attraction like this makes people go to the hub. That's why I've tried to build hubs near attractions or vice versa. New Tram Square is also a major bus hub, but then we've got one down here as well. And is it up? Oh, we got this one up here as well. I think there's like 3 in each location. So there's another one here. There's kind of one around this area. It's not really a hub, but it's a major interchange. And then we've got the one over here, and then there's one up in City East up here as well that connects to some stuff. And I think is there underground? Yeah, there's underground trams stops here. We should probably link all these up. That might be something I do tonight, actually, is start linking up some of these tram lines. And get these working. But yeah, as you can see, very big city, very big city. The reason it's a satellite system is because we have these satellite hubs. So they're all sort of localized hubs, and then all these hubs are linked together by other forms of transport. So in this case, no, there isn't one there. What am I doing? In this case, the tram, there's a metro station underneath as well, and then there's the water bus. They're the kind of major interchanges that we have to this hub. What used to be the MCH, this has underground tram lines. It also has metro. It also has underground bus hub as well as an above ground bus hub. The one up here has the monorail system as well as a metro terminus and the tram hybrid system that also comes through here before it crosses under the water and heads over to City West. I think my favourite one, because it's the last hub I designed, was the Rathaus one. Everything was designed to fit perfectly. It's kind of a modular system. And it's also designed to be able to support huge numbers of people, which it kind of does, as you can see. Plus it has the underground tram lines, and I always like underground tram lines. They just look awesome. So yeah, let's actually start working on some stuff here. Let me just look to see what else I can do. I think one thing I want to do is add a water bus line between the Rathaus and this hub here, because there's no direct route between the two. Nor is there a direct route between these two. So I think we'll do that. I think we'll build a dedicated stop over here. And yeah, we'll get this going. Oh god. There we go. So I'm really struggling to see through all the circles. I think this covers most, if not all, of the hub. If I move it there. There we go. So people are going to have to walk on this weird little section here, but it should be fine. And there is a monorail pillar that just about reaches in as well, so that's good. So now if I build a waypoint, actually we could use the existing one. I think I'll just use the existing one. Right, transport panel. It's been a while since I did this. You'll have to bear with me. We'll call this the Rat House Hopper. And timetable-wise, we'll copy one of the other water bus routes. I wish OpenTTD had this for scheduled dispatch. Look how easy this is. Copy, 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 done. So you go there, 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 there. Simple. So you need, what, 12 vehicles? You currently have 9. What type of vehicle are you? You are a Donnell Trooper. No. Trooper. We'll get 5 of these. Takes up to 14 total. Smartboard. Hello. Welcome. Is it morning where you are? Crikey. It's 7:30 at night here. Now, why are you dispatching 2? Who knows? This is popular, though. Look at this. Lots of people. Wow, I just saw 400 people. Yeah, 460 people at a metro stop. That is insane. Alright, let's get back to the questions as well. Would you rather double your subscriber count or add your subscribers to another small, less than 1,000 subscriber YouTuber? I think this is a relatively straightforward answer. I would double my subscriber count were I given the choice. That being said, I don't know, to just double your sub count like that is quite an ask. Like, obviously I'd have to put the work in. But yeah, that would be my chosen thing. I would double my sub count. Because, you know, 2020, I think I'd be up to subscribers. That's pretty cool. Not to be sniffed at, for sure. I'm just looking at this. Oh, I see. Yeah, we have a very weird line set up over here. I do remember now. Yeah, there it is. Okay, let's do this tram line. I need a depot to start from. I also need to redesign this slightly. Let's swap that out for one of these. Reason being, I can do that, that, that. You can connect to this. You can connect. Actually, not that one. Ignore that. Pretend that didn't happen. You can then connect to that. But then also you. And if I place the tram stops back in, so the outer ones will have stops and the inner ones will have waypoints. There we go. It's 11:30 AM for me. Let me try and work out where you are then. Let me think. So my grandparents live in Perth, Western Australia, and they're 9 hours ahead currently, I believe. So 7 PM here would be add 9. Just say it's 7 AM, just for the sake of working it out easier. So add 9 to that would be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it'd be 4 o'clock in the morning currently in Australia. So you must be either Eastern Australia or New Zealand. Because I don't think you can get any further east than that unless you're on one of those islands. I always forget the name of. Were these named? No. Good. So yeah, I need a tram depot that's near here. I think they're, yeah, I think these are localized as well, the tram depots. So I need to try and find a way to link up the tram depot to this. I suppose what I could do is find a nice patch of land, say down here. Let's build from here downwards. Vancouver. Oh, you're behind. Not ahead. Behind. Ah, how wrong I was. Actually, this is not a good place for a tram depot. Yeah, if you look at how steep that slope is. Do you know what? I'm going to rebuild that. That is ugly as hell. Let's do it like this. There we go. That should be a little bit better. It's a bit steep, but it's underground, so it's fine. Now I've got to redo all this again. So what was it? It was U to U to U to U to U, and then also this to this. I think that's right. These loop ones here are for terminating. Yeah, that looks about right. Okie dokie. So, yeah, I need to connect a tram depot up to this. Preferably on this side. Just trying to work this out. Maybe up here, in this little area around here. Or down there. Actually, down there would work. Let's go with a large one. And I'll build it in this direction. Like so. It's a bit of a slope, but it's fine. And then you can go like that. This one can go like that, and then if I build metro tracks underground, and we'll stretch this right out up to here. Yeah, I think I'll just do it like this. And then you can go like that. Can you curve around? Oh, you can. It's very tight squeeze, but it does work. You can go there, and then if I connect this to this, there we go. That should work. So let's do a test line. Where did we get to in terms of route 310? By the looks of it. So let's do route 311. And in terms of timetabling, we'll do it the same as tram line 1. So, and then you are going to go this depot. Oh, hang on, I need to do that. So you're going to go via that waypoint to that stop, that waypoint again. And then you're going to come out to here. here. And then you're going to follow this road all the way along the shoreline like this. And then yeah, you're going to keep going straight along here. And then instead of going down and underground there, you're going to carry on along the shoreline here. And then you are going to head down to this stop here. And then you're going to go to this stop here, which is part of the hybrid system. And then you're going to loop around and terminate there. And then you're going to run all the way back. So there, and then there. Trying to see where all the stops are now. One there, and then here, here. Oh, thought we were going to crash then. I'll have to save the game in a second. I haven't stress tested this yet, because I know one of the reasons the old series ended was because of the game constantly crashing. There's one thing I've not done yet is check if that's still the case. Alright, this line is set up. Just realised I've not had the Twitch chat up as well. Ed Mira. Hello. Sorry if I was ignoring you then, I didn't have the Twitch chat up. It's really interesting to see a totally other kind of design than I generally tend to do. I get that a lot on this channel. A lot of people say things like that. I take it as a compliment though, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I try and do things different. It's kind of one of the ways you stand out, is by not necessarily following the norm. What type of tram shall I have? Maybe the Scandi Tram Master. How many do I need? 16, should we say? Something like that. That looks alright. Okay, so that's one line set up. Now we'll do another line from here, which will be route 312. You're also going to copy from the same. There we go. And you are going to run from this depot to this stop and then loop round. And then you're going to follow this route here. So you're going to stop there. You're going to stop here. But then you're going to turn. Okay, we're lagging a little bit now. Lagging a little bit now. Oh wow, we're lagging a lot a bit now. So yeah, you're going to turn and head down this way. And then down under the freeway there. Actually, are you? Maybe you're not. Or at least you're not going to stop there. I think you might just be a straightforward east to west looking at it. So you are 305 and you are 310. So yeah, I think what we're going to do instead is have you... Aha, this is the cause of the lag. Just close that for a second. There'll be lots of people down here all trying to cross the road. Oh my days, look at those people. Yes, that's why we're lagging. All those people packed densely together. Alright, I need to step away and let this fix itself. That must be thousands of people densely packed together there. And that's exactly why the game is now throwing a hissy and deciding it doesn't want to work. So if I zoom in again now, dearie me. Right, back to this. So you're going to go across there. It might be worth pedestrianising this road here and not having it as a major thoroughfare. Should we go via New Tram Square? Or should we just go straight on? I think we should just go straight on. So we'll need to turn this. I'm actually going to do this. And hope none of my buses were using that road. Because if they were, they're not now. I've got to track it. There we are. So after... let's re-add this one. There we go. Then we'll hop across to this stop. And then up and over this bridge to this stop. Now this line loops around and then heads down towards the rat house. What I think we'll do instead for this new line is actually turn here and keep heading down south. Kind of like this. Whoops. That was game lag again. Oh, I don't know. The more I play this game, the more I think maybe I can get some more videos out of it one day. I don't know though. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. That's the thing. Oh my god, that is the ugliest junction. So I can't just connect with that. In that case, what I'll do instead is... something like this. Just a temporary terminus. We could always extend this line in the future. And we'll stick... actually, we'll stick a large one right there. And then we'll go you out like that, you out like that. And then we'll just build relatively normal stops on the way back. There we go. So now we come to the end of this road and we turn south and we come along here like that, and then we head back. No available route. Isn't there? These are all linked up, aren't they? So from here, you come round like that. You run along here. You turn right. Major annoyance, this game doesn't allow to make a loop with one section. You have to make a loop with two. Yeah. Also the fact that metros, like in the original Cities in Motion, you could just have a terminus metro station, whereas now you have to have a loop. That was one of the things that put me off when it was first announced. Cities in Motion 2 was the fact that you have to have everything looped. Oh, that isn't connected. Also the fact that people can just teleport as well. So from the entrance to metro stations, they just teleport down onto the platform. Whereas in Cities in Motion 1, you actually get to watch them head down through all the escalators and everything. Evening, Dubout. Too sad that there is not a new Cities in Motion. No, yeah, you're right. It is a shame. I'd like to see one. There's a lot that they've said in the past that they wish they could have done differently. So I think a sequel is the perfect opportunity to sort of right those wrongs. But it's up to the devs. They're quite busy with Skylines DLC at the moment. Ah, this is, yeah. This tram line was getting backed up. That's normally the first signifier that something's not right, when there's like 600 people waiting at a single tram stop. Right, connect this up. So you need, what, 15 vehicles? We currently have 16 here. What are you again? I think it was... Close that. Scanditram Masters, yeah. So we'll buy like another 16 of these. Look at that, brand new depot. It's already got 32 vehicles inside it. I think a sequel to Skylines is more likely, or more DLCs. Well, we had this chat before. I think at the moment they're not. None of the DLC overhauls the game radically enough that a new engine and a sequel is justified. Right now they can continue pumping out DLC for the existing game. It's all good stuff, don't get me wrong, but there's no financial obligation to make a new game because people still buy the DLC. It's only when people stop buying the DLC that they'll start looking at a sequel. That's probably a long ways off now. Okay, what am I doing with this now? So I think we can make like a set of loops, maybe? Or maybe not, actually. No, maybe not. What we can do from here is have a new line. We might even give this one a name. Since it's 1000, we'll call this the Millennium Line. I think that's how you spell Millennium. Paradox DLC scam as usual. Hey now, it's not a scam. We can hope they come around to do a different Cities in Motion. To do a new Cities in Motion. Where did I get different from? Yeah, I've played Skylines a few times. I did a couple of series on the channel. Did a stream a while ago as well, which was the precursor to a series. I do want to get into it. The problem with Skylines is, you know, you wait a week and then an update comes out and loads of mods break. And things like the Metro Overhaul mod, which is awesome. Sometimes it just breaks or it doesn't work. Oh, I did spell it right. 2 L's, 2 N's. So it's you spend half your time waiting for DLC to... Well, you spend half the time waiting for mods to get fixed from DLC or from just updates in general. So it can be a bit of a pain. But I do like it. Don't get me wrong, I do like it. Alright, you're going to start here, and you're going to go... probably the inside one, actually, this time around. So I think you can still get across. Yeah, you can. And then there. And then this is pretty much going to follow the other line the whole way along. This is going to be like a spiral line, the Millennium Line. Wow, these stops get busy fast. Oh, that one already existed, but you know, there's people waiting here. Paradox publishes half-done games and sells DLC. They always did. I really don't think that's fair. I really don't think that's fair. Especially like game development cycles. People don't realise how little time developers actually have to work on a game. There's a video, I'm sure you're all familiar with Call of Duty, the original Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4. There's a mission in that game called All Gillied Up, which is one of the most famous missions in video game history. And I watched a video the other day of the people who came up with that mission, the developers, talking about it. And one of the developers said there's a bit about that mission that he absolutely hates, which is the end of that mission where it segues into the next mission. Instead of just having a natural conclusion, the mission instead ends with you looking up at the building and then the screen fades to black. And the guy who created the mission said he absolutely hates that, but the reason it had to be like that is because he ran out of time. And Paradox are actually the publishers. Colossal Order are the developers of Cities Skylines. So I can bet you that Paradox had a timescale for the development of Skylines, and Colossal Order had to follow it. So I bet you they ran out of time. It's as simple as that, which is unfortunate. You know, no one likes to see that, particularly as a lot of people who aren't in the know do throw the blame on the developers. But with the DLC system, yes, they're charging more money for it, but they're also working more hours to fix the game. So there's a lot of fixes. A lot of the DLC actually has fixes rather than just you know, content that's been added. And I don't have a problem with that. It's not too expensive, you know, it's still relatively reasonably priced, and you get more out of the game. Sometimes developers do free updates that fix things. Rockstar do free DLC as well, which is another way, a good way of doing it. But when you're earning billions and billions of dollars per game sale, and you also have microtransactions built into your game, free DLC really is a drop in the ocean in comparison. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. Paradox as a publisher probably have a process for publishing games, but don't blame the developers for something that a publisher's done. They're two different companies. Okay, I really hope you're not here just to rant about the game. This is meant to be a 1,000 subscriber celebration, not pointing fingers at developers and saying, "Oh, you didn't do a good job." That's not what I'm here for. Alright, do you know what I should have done actually? And I can still change this, thinking about it. I'm going to add another depot here. We only need a small one. Can I squeeze it in? No? Can I squeeze it here? Yes. So this is going to be like hybrid trams. So we got the hybrid tram system, but this is going to be specifically hybrid trams. This is trams that can only run... Well, then, sorry. There's trams that can run on streets, and there's trams that can run on hybrid systems. In real life, all these trams can run on all these systems, but for this, the lore of the game that I'm developing here, let's assume that there are differences. So let's buy some hybrid trams that can actually run on both systems. I should also shut this line down. Send that tram back to the depot. There we go. Right. Let's get something like the Tatra 4M. And we'll buy 20 of these. Or we'll buy 25 of these. So we got plenty left over as well. Alrighty. That's actually because at the time they wanted the game to be accessible to everyone, so instead of making a more powerful traffic AI that would only be available for a handful of people, they made the game more accessible to everyone. YouTube is a very interactive platform, but there's several reasons why I'm not just going to let people come in and rant about stuff. You know, the fact that it's a very one-sided argument when you do that, Because you're moaning about the developers, but at no point in your rant are you actually letting anyone retort. And now, because I've said, could you not rant please, you're now going into a rant about YouTube being a non-interactive platform. So really, you only care about your own opinion, you don't care about anyone else's. And who's the hypocrite in that scenario? But George, you're right. And again, this is something that people don't consider, is the fact that not everyone has a super gaming rig. You know, some people have a PC that can barely run a game. Cities in Motion 2, Cities Skylines. It's an all-round accessible game. It's designed to run on all types of systems. And Skylines has even been ported over to console. Which, in my opinion, is a good move. Because any game that you can port to console, sometimes there are sacrifices that have to be made, but overall it's a pretty decent thing to do. And yeah, I like it. I like that idea. I think it's a good idea. I was about to make a really good point. Oh yeah, accessibility. So yeah, sometimes games are limited by what can and can't be done. Sometimes it's limited by time, sometimes it's limited by software limitations or the engine, sometimes it's hardware limitations, so they're trying to make a game that can run on all platforms rather than just the super high powered ones. And AI is extremely processor heavy. Extremely processor heavy. You can't just simulate real life traffic. You know, it's not just there's a switch somewhere and you flick the switch and it starts running. There's a lot of behind the scenes calculations that have to go on. Do you want your processor to spend more time running the game as a whole, or do you want it to spend more time running just the traffic AI? And don't give me all this bullshit about you've got an 8-core processor, because most games these days don't use more than one core. There's something called multi-threading that allows games to use multiple cores, but it's so difficult to code into your game, more often than not, that developers don't use it. So your quad-core, octa-core, hexa-core, whatever it might be processor, is only using a single core to run the game. Now, do you want it to spend 100% of that processing power just trying to make the traffic run more realistically, or do you want it to spend 100% of the processing power making the whole game run properly? To be honest, why is a bad AI more accessible to players? It's not the quality of the AI, it's how difficult it is to run that AI. It's just people don't seem to understand that. Genuinely don't seem to understand that. It's not as cut and dry as people assume. And yeah, it's graphics as well, because you have to render all of these things as well as actually simulate them. It's one of these things. It's like Planet Coaster. A lot of people want a sequel to Planet Coaster using a new engine. So things like the pathing system can be fixed. Things like the AI system can be more refined. And AI in Planet Coaster is a little bit different to AI in City Skylines. Because in City Skylines, every single person in your city has a home, a job, places they like to go to for recreation. And they've all got to get from A to B. Sometimes there's a little bit of teleporting. Sometimes, cars come out of their pockets and things like that. But with mods, most of that gets eradicated. So you could have 100,000 people living in your city, and each one of those has destinations that they're traveling from, destinations that they're traveling to, different ways of getting there, whether it's public transport, walking, cycling, driving. It's all got to be simulated, and it is not as easy as you think it is. It's got everything to do with CPU power. If you want to spend the next 6 years of your life developing a better AI system for a game, then go ahead. But when you've got like an 18-month... Oh, my game just crashed. When you've got an 18-month development cycle, you're not going to get the game done to the level that you want it to get done. You're certainly not going to get it done to the level that half your audience want it done to. So you can throw the "I'm a developer" line at me all you like, but when you're working to deadlines, you have to make sacrifices. It's as simple as that. I always forget the name of the law, but there's that that law about processing power. Is it doubles every 18 months? Is it Moore's law? Might be Moore's law. So maybe in like 3 or 4 years' time, we could have realistic traffic simulations. But right now, it ain't happening. I'm pretty sure the Better AI mod does use more CPU. The game as a whole, when you add mods, uses more CPU. And the modding system in Skylines is heavily flawed because people can write the dirtiest code ever and it will function, but it won't necessarily function well and it will clog up your entire system. And this, everybody, is why we save regularly. So now we can watch this all over again. Alright, I'm going to get back to the Q&A in a second. But yeah, do you know what? I really hate it when people throw the "I'm a developer" line. As if that somehow wins the argument. It doesn't. You know, developers do different things. If you're a game developer who works on realistic traffic AI scenarios, then sure. But if you're making, I don't know, word processor or something like that, yeah, you're a developer, but, you know, your argument's as good as mine. I'm a content creator. Moore's Law. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, someone from City Skylines said this in the video. Even like, we're saying the same thing that the developers are, and you want to argue with it. That's insane. That is insane. Anyway, as this is a non-interactive platform, I'm going to get back to interacting with my audience by answering questions that they asked me. If you could change one thing about your channel, what would you have done differently? This is a good question, because I'm only now am I reaping the rewards from doing this thing. The thing I would have done differently is I would have advertised my channel a lot more vigorously earlier on in its history. So when I started my channel, really it was just friends and family that knew I was doing it. And every now and then I might post something on Facebook or I might link my Twitter or something like that. But more often than not, it was just word of mouth. And when I was at uni, I would go into a lecture in one of the computer labs and I would just run my videos in the background and hope that someone sees it. Because if someone sees it and they ask me about it, then I'll tell them about my channel. Sometimes people asked me, sometimes people didn't. I never really forced it down people's throats. But one of the best decisions I made was a year ago, I joined Reddit. And being able to post my videos on the right Reddit community has made a massive, massive difference. Particularly OpenTTD. I've got a big viewer base now from the OpenTTD Reddit community, and also joining the Discord helped me there as well. But it's about confidence and it's about bravery, because I never really considered what I was doing to be that special. It's only now people say things like, I've never seen the game played that way before, that I start to think there's something unique here, there's something marketable about my channel. And you know, I try and push that as much as possible now. I do things differently for a reason. But yeah, promoting my channel, that's the one. Being brave enough to talk about my channel, being confident enough to talk about my channel, that was the big thing that I wish I could have done. Because I might have hit 1,000 subscribers 3 years ago if I'd actually promoted it properly on social media. If you could get your channel promoted by some other YouTuber, who would you pick to promote your channel? This is also a really difficult question because there's no one channel that I could pick that would promote my stuff to everybody. You know, for example, there's lots of City Skylines creators who I could promote this video towards because it's slightly related. Or if I did a Skyline series, I could push that towards them and ask, you know, could you give me a shout out? But then I also do OpenTTD stuff, and there aren't that many big OpenTTD creators. The Yogscast occasionally do a stream on it. You know, every now and then Master Hellish will do a charity stream, but even then his channel, he's only hit 10,000 subscribers recently. Massive well done to him, by the way, because that's a huge achievement. But you know, it's not colossal channel size. It's not 1 million plus subscribers. And then I do Funk Manager stuff from time to time as well, which again, you can't really, there's no one channel that I would pick to maybe shout that out. If there's other channels that do the same thing as me but on a bigger scale, play lots of different games, do lots of different things, then I would choose one of them. But I'm not really familiar with many that actually do that. There's compilation channels like Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth in general, where it's lots of different creative people who are into lots of different things. And you know, they do things like GTA, they do things like is it Derailed, that indie game that came out recently? So that maybe them. I've always wanted to work for Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter in particular, so having them give me a shout out would be massive. That would be awesome. Plus obviously the massive subscriber gain would be nice as well. Next question. What century in your subscriber count, whether it's the zeros, the hundreds, the 200s, etc., except the 900s, this is very specifically said, except the 900s, so which century would you consider your most difficult to pass? Well, obviously the reason 900 plus has been excluded is because that was the most difficult one. It took the longest. But the first 100, actually, the first 100 is probably the hardest when you're starting out on YouTube. Because there is no reason in the world why anyone would subscribe to you when you first start out. Even if you do things differently, even if you, even if you're onto a winner. There's nothing that makes your channel stand out. There's nothing that makes your channel noticeable. YouTube don't push a channel with 0 subscribers. Even if they've got 1 million views, YouTube still don't really promote them that much. So it's all about luck. It's all about timing. And fortunately, I started YouTube just before the whole world decided to start YouTube. So I got in quite early, and I was quite fortunate. But even when I started, I wasn't trying to emulate anyone. I wasn't trying to be the next PewDiePie. God, no, I wasn't trying to be the next PewDiePie. I wasn't trying to be the Sidemen or anything like that. I just wanted to find like-minded people who liked the same sort of things as I did. Trying to scratch the itch that I couldn't find anywhere else on YouTube, basically. But getting that first 100 subscribers, it took me like 18 months to hit 100. And then the 200 was like 6 months after that. So that was the hardest. And, 900 I was stuck on for a long time, but the 2018 incidents really hit me hard in terms of gaining subscribers. Losing my monetization status, losing my status as a whole. Suddenly I was just a channel with less than 1,000 subscribers, so I didn't matter anymore. And that's what made it difficult. Was reaching 900 was good, but then getting from 900 to 1,000 was borderline impossible. And it took me, 2 years almost to actually do it. So being here now, looking back, God, was it a slog, but I'm glad that I stuck with it. Yeah, what do you plan on doing with your channel going forward? Basically, same again, pretty much. Working harder, obviously, making new innovative content. The Siege series, for example, is a good way of doing that. There's another set of videos that I'm working on for XVI at the moment, which is not going to go up on my channel, it's going to go up on XVI's channel. But that's kind of everything I've learnt from YouTube for my channel, I'm putting towards XVI's channel. So one of the key things is find a niche that gets you in early. So we have the XVI podcast, there's a Fallout series that I'm working on, there's a Games Night series that I'm also working on at the moment. But it's trying to find things that sort of sum us up as a company, sum us up as people, but also get people interested. So there's a couple of things there that I'm working on. Subscribe to the XVI channel if you haven't done so already, because believe me, there's some good stuff coming up soon. But yeah, also having exclusive access to XVI's first game on the channel. So obviously other people will eventually get a copy of it and make videos, but I'll be the first person to upload videos on Project Cavier. And I'm looking forward to doing that. Even though I'm not going to be doing a conventional playthrough, I'm going to be like stress testing the game basically, trying to find different ways to break it. But I'll be telling a lot of behind the scenes stories and stuff like that. And that could be something that gets me popular. People wanting to see behind the scenes on the game. It's a really good place to start. Behind the scenes content is becoming more and more popular these days. So we'll see about that. But besides that, Open TTD once a week, every Thursday night. Streaming it live. Football Manager probably every Friday, maybe Saturday every week. Xvision Interactive, it's called. It's the name of our company, so we're a video game developer. We're working on our first project at the moment. This is why I know about video game development, because we're actively working on a project right now. Plus, I've done a lot of research into it. When I did my dissertation at uni, I had two options. One was to write about video game development, and one was to write about YouTube monetization. And because I was more active on YouTube than I was in game development at the time, I wrote about monetization. So a lot of people have thought it wise to argue with me on Reddit about YouTube and how it works, and I just linked them my dissertation. It's the easiest way to win an argument, believe me. Got first on it. Really happy with that. Got firsts all the way through that module. But yeah, XVision Interactive is the name of the channel. The XVI podcast is on there. There's quite a few episodes on there now. The XVI podcast is changing for this year. So I'll have more info on that in the near future. I think we'll be recording an episode this month. And I'm the host of that, which is how I know these things, and I run the channel. Can I link it? Yep. Yes, I can. I'll link it on Twitch as well. In fact, let me see if I can do it. But yeah, if I could get everyone from my channel to go and subscribe to the XVI channel, that would be incredible, because then we can get monetized. But ignoring that, it's just nice to have 1,000 subscribers. Where are we? Here we are. That's the XVI channel. I've just posted it on YouTube. Now I'm going to go post it on Twitch. Chat box. There it is. There we go. Yeah, what else am I going to do with the channel? I want it to be more interactive. That's the thing. And I said this yesterday, and I said it in today's Euro Truck video as well, but I'll say it again here. I always like being able to talk about the channel openly, live on stream like this. It makes a massive difference. But yeah, moving forward, one of the things I want to do is make the channel more interactive. So the M4J Racing series was the first step towards that. So currently, it's myself, Kurt, Ben, Alex, I think Zakif, and then some of our friends from outside of XVI. We're all taking part. It's going to be GTA 5 on PC. There's a whole system about getting cars and stuff. It's very pedantic. It's very needy. No, it's very nerdy and geeky. But overall, it's for the benefit of everybody, believe me. So there's that. But also things like turning OpenTTD into a multiplayer series. Rather than just have it as is, which is me playing on my own offline. But using things like shared infrastructure. Having it on a hosted server so I can hop on and off whenever I feel like it. And getting people to run their own franchises on there. I'll say it again though, that's for Patreon supporters only at the moment. A lot of things will be Patreon supporters only. Things like getting a server set up is not necessarily cheap. So that's why it's basically to make it pay for itself. But Space Engineers, Minecraft, all sorts of things like that. Make it online, get people involved. If you're watching the stream, for example, you can just hop on and join in. That's what I did on Space Engineers back in the day. That's one of the reasons I think why it was so successful. Was basically anyone said hi in the chat and they got an invite to the game. I don't mind that though. It's fun. We never really had anyone break the rules or anything, so it was always good stuff. But yeah, just trying to continue to stand out, do things that have made me popular in the past, get more people involved. And just turn 2020 into a really good year all round for XVI and M4J. And actually, I mean, Ben should still be here. Am I allowed to do the announcement, Ben, of what we were doing earlier? Or do you think I should wait for now? It won't go live yet, but I really want to get it off my chest because I think it's really awesome. We'll see if Ben's still here. If not, I'll have to bite my tongue for now. I'd like to do some collaborations this year as well. See if there's anyone of a similar size who wants to do a collaboration, or even a bigger channel that doesn't mind giving a smaller channel a leg up. we'll have to see about that. I don't want to get too ambitious, and I don't want to promise things that then don't happen for whatever reason, because that's worse than just not being ambitious, is being too ambitious. So we've got the last two questions here. What is your favourite part about Cities in Motion? Cities in Motion and Cities in Motion 2. I just love the fact that you can just sit back and watch the game run. You don't have to micromanage everything. This version a little bit more, you do have to sometimes reset lines because things get blocked, like we saw earlier with all those pedestrians. But more often than not, back in the day, I would just sit and let it run. And that's always satisfying, to build these big networks and then just watch them go. And tracking people around the city, so choose a random citizen and just follow them on their journey. It's basically market research as well, because you get to see where they're traveling to and what they're doing. So I find that kind of cool. And then Cities in Motion 2, the timetabling was always good as well, doing clock face timetabling and actually being able to schedule when your services run. That was always fun. Because in Cities in Motion 1, vehicles tended to get backed up pretty quickly. So to not have that happen in Cities in Motion 2 was a big... Well, it still happens, but to actually have a schedule was a good thing. For your side of the project, yes. Awesome, thank you. So, I talked yesterday about merchandise. And some of the... well, the main reason I talked about it yesterday was I wanted to see how much interest there was. So there was some interest. A lot of it was in the near future, which is fine. But what I have done today... me, Ben and Alex earlier were working on designs for merchandise. So in theory, the XVI store can go live right now and you can start buying stuff. Currently, the only stuff on there is M4J stuff. And it might seem really weird, why am I selling my stuff on the XVI site? The reason being, as I said yesterday, to try and run that site myself and try and run the store myself would probably be too much to handle. I'd spend all my time doing that and not enough time actually working on content creation. So the XVI store has technically been around since the beginning of the XVI website. It's just not been live. So we've always had a store page. It's always said under development. So I had this idea last month when I hit 1,000 subscribers. Over Christmas I was working on the idea of selling merchandise, and the stumbling block was actually setting up a store page on the M4J website. And for like weeks I was thinking about how I was going to do it, and then I suddenly realised, hang on a minute, as well as running the M4J site, I also run the XVI site, and the XVI site has a store. So why not combine the two things together? XVI is a platform for creators. It's not just us developing games. There's also, you know, content creation, video creation, music creation. We have a very good team of musicians in John and Jay, who they work for their own company, Electrical Audio, but they also work with us on our projects. So it's a creative platform. It's a good way of getting people highlighted. So selling my stuff on the XVI store is a no-brainer, really. So we've been working on some designs. They're kind of prototypical at the moment. They're not necessarily going to be long-lasting. They'll be replaced by better stuff in the future, which kind of adds to that novelty factor of you could buy a hoodie that in a week's time could become obsolete. That then becomes a rare item. So it's up to you whether you want to buy it or not. We've been working on price points and things like that. I won't say too much about pricing right now because it really is up to you guys how much is too much. But yeah, we've got some designs up on the site. So some point in the next however long, few days, couple of weeks maybe, we'll be starting to sell M4J merchandise on the XVI website. We will be working on XVI branded merchandise as well as for the project that we're working on at the moment. So there'll be Project Cavier stuff. I can't put a timeline on that though because I'm not in charge of that side of it. But M4J stuff, as I said, tonight really we can start selling it if we really wanted to. So if there's anyone out there who's watching this, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it on playback, and you're now really excited by the prospect of buying M4J merchandise, it will be available to you very, very shortly. And there will be a big announcement. I'll be posting a blog post about it on my site. XVI will be posting a blog post about it on their site because I write all the blog posts for both sites. So, yeah, I'm in charge of... Basically, anytime you interact with XVI, you're basically interacting with me. Whether you see that as a good thing or not, I don't know. I hope you do, but it's not up to me. So yeah, hoodies, shirts. There's an M4J network poster that's available, which actually has an old version of the M4J network. It's from episode 8 of the series. So I'll do an up-to-date version of that as well. But one of the things I had with setting up all these variants. So there's 2 3/4 length sleeve shirts with different catchphrases on, and each one comes in 5 variants of color, which meant I had to do 10 variants basically. But it's relatively easy when you work with something like that, because on Squarespace you can copy and paste stuff, and it's really, really handy. But the poster frames, there's something like 8 or 9 different sized poster frames, and I had to customize every single one of them. So all the pricing, all the sizes, all the colors, because there's 2 different colors as well, some of which some sizes don't come in certain colors, some colors don't come in certain sizes. It took me 2 hours, I think, to do the posters, and it took me half an hour to do the shirts. That's the kind of gulf that we're talking about here. But as I said earlier, one of the things I loved was just sitting back afterwards and looking at the store page and just seeing my merchandise there. 6.5 years in the making, basically, building this brand. And I feel like I'm finally at a stage where I can start selling stuff with the logo on. So, as I said, it's up to you guys whether you're actually interested in that side of thing, or that sort of thing, or not. If you're not, that's totally fine. If you are, then awesome. Give me all your money right now. But yeah, merchandise. Really, really happy to announce it. And I like the designs. I'll be buying my own designs as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm never going to release something that I myself wouldn't buy or play or use. So that's definitely part of it. The t-shirts especially. The polo shirts, the hoodies, all that kind of thing. If I had the money right now, I'd buy all of it. I'm going to look at buying all of it and see if there's a way I can do it, because I think it would be really, really good to actually do that. Plus, as I said, if you can't represent your own brand, then why should anyone else buy it? It's as simple as that. Right, last question of the stream, and then we'll do an open chat, open conversation. What is your least favourite part about Cities in Motion? You kind of saw it earlier when I had to reset because of that junction getting clogged up. Things work really well in the game, but when they stop working, it stops working catastrophically. So things break very, very quickly. You also saw the game crash. That was a big issue. Now I know it happens on this PC as well. I'm now getting skeptical about doing videos in this game again. I think one of the issues is this game came out in 2012. I think maybe before that even. I think it was 2000. I think Cities in Motion came out in 2010. Cities in Motion 2 came out in 2012, and Cities Skylines came out in 2014. I think that's the. They were 2 years apart, which is again one of the reasons why I stand up for the developers when people call them lazy, because they released 3 games in the space of 6 years. In fact, technically they released 3 games in the space of 4 years. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work. Anyway, I'm not getting into that debate again. So some things here do sometimes get limited. The hardware limitation... well, there isn't a hardware limitation, it's a software limitation. The game is old enough now where more powerful and modern PCs actually struggle to run it more than old PCs would. So if I went back and played it on my old PC before I upgraded that one, I probably would have a better time. But then, I mean, you can see here the game jumps around a little bit, vehicles jump here and there. I don't even know what the frame rate is of this game. It might only be 30 FPS rather than 60. So it's not the best game ever made, don't get me wrong. I've sunk a lot of hours into it, and I do love this game a lot. But it is heavily limited, and it is those limitations that hold it back, I feel. A sequel could perhaps fix it. A new engine is the main issue. A new engine. Even a more modern engine than the one Skylines runs on. To be able to accurately simulate a city. But there's some cool features in the game as well. I like the fact that the sequel, Cities in Motion 2, you could build roads. You could develop areas of the city. It wasn't just a case of build a metro line, build a tram line. You can only work with the roads you've already got. Although, one of the things I wish this game did have was the railway stations. This game has tourist attractions, But I really liked the idea of the original Cities in Motion had airports and train stations, and that was how people got into your city. So you could focus all of your transport links around those two locations. So you could have like a metro line that links the airport to the station, and then you could have all your bus lines and tram lines spur out from the station in the center of the city. That was a really cool feature, and I was so disappointed that they didn't have that in the sequel. Tourist attractions are good, you can still attract a lot of people there, but it's like a bubble. Your city right now is in a bubble. No one leaves and no one enters. So even though like the population will undulate, people will die, more people will get born, but you never get immigration and emigration. It's always just whoever was born here will die here. And that in itself is quite limiting, I feel. But that's just my personal opinion. I still love the game, as I say, and I'm really nitpicking here to find things that I don't like about it. But every game, no matter how good it is, there will be things that you don't like about it. And it's healthy to have that. You can't just love something unconditionally and never see the faults in it. That's when you become a fanboy or a fangirl and you can't see the wood for the trees. You love something so much that you never see its flaws. Because even GTA has huge flaws in its game. I don't personally like the microtransactions, but I tolerate them because it's not pay to win really. You can buy shark cards and you can like fast track your way to more powerful technology, but it's not really pay to win in the same way that some other games are. Nothing's hidden behind a paywall. It's all accessible. Sometimes you just have to grind to get it. But GTA is limited. I hate the fact they've added flying vehicles, like the Oppressor and the Deluxo, flying cars and flying bikes. That kind of ruined the game for me a little bit. They've tried to balance it since then, but I don't know. I don't like public lobbies now because of that. But I still love the game. I have a whole racing series that's going to be played on GTA because I do love the game. At its core, GTA is an all-round game. Like, never before in my life have I thought, I want to play a golf game today. Oh no, I'll play GTA. Or I want to do some racing today. I know, I'll play GTA. Or I just want to walk around and see a city that's alive. I know, I'll play GTA. Every single thing that I can think of that I want to do in gaming, where I just sit back and relax and enjoy, I can do in GTA. I can spend 3 hours of my life playing a tennis match against Kurt. I can have a rocket launcher fly narrowly over my head. There's so much you can do in that game. I think that is my favourite game. Probably of all time, GTA 5. Even though I don't really play it on the channel that much. I did the Doomsday heist. I did some gun running and things like that. But a lot of the time, mainly because it's a family-friendly channel, but I'm sort of leaning away from that a little bit. Not because of copper. I'm sure some people think it's because of copper. But it's more the fact I've been doing YouTube for 6 years now, and I feel like I can be myself a lot more. Because in real life, I swear all the time. But on YouTube, I don't swear that much. So I won't be throwing the F-bomb in every other word or anything like that, but I'll be putting more of my personality into my content from now on. Because ultimately, if you subscribe to the channel, one of the things you want to see the most of is that actual person. I'm just watching how the trams interact here. It's actually kind of cool. Quite like that. I think we're onto a winner here with this new little transport hub. But yeah, those are all the questions that I had for tonight. There's loads of questions to get through tomorrow. Yeah, loads of questions to get through tomorrow. Things about monetization, favourite stuff. I've got the $10,000 to spend on... I'm going to remove that one because I've already answered that one. There we go. And also, what do I plan to do with my channel going forward? I'm surprised I've got duplicates here, actually. The closest to quitting as well. I know I copied and pasted that one because I've answered that one already. But yeah, let's turn this into an open discussion now. So we got like half an hour left of the stream. So does anyone in the chat have any questions or any comments or anything like that they wish to share or ask? Feel free to do so now. Or if you just want to chat about stuff in general, feel free to do so now. I'm just typing a message to Alex on Facebook because he wanted to play Siege and now it looks like he's going out, so that might not be happening. Although if Ben and Kurt are both still here, I might be able to talk them into playing Siege. I doubt it though. I'm not very convincing a lot of the time. Yeah, I suppose I could take this opportunity as well to say, you know, again, when I started my channel, I never had any real subscriber goals. 1 subscriber pretty much was my target, and a lot of people don't really believe me when I say it, but I'm not the most confident and outgoing person. When I do my streams, I'm basically playing a character. So in real life, I'm Mark, you know, but on here, I'm M4J, and we're very, very different people. I'm trying to emulate more of it into my daily life now. So when I do networking events at the uni now, I do presentations in front of big groups of people, and I treat it like a live stream or a YouTube video. And that's a really good piece of advice as to how to get through these things is, you know, just treat it like you're talking to one person. And even if you're doing big crowd presentations, just look at the same person in the room. Because to everyone else in the room, it looks like you're just looking around at people as you speak. But in reality, you're singling out one person, whether it's a friend or a relative or just a random person that you've never met before. It's a really good way of kind of distracting yourself from the fact that there's hundreds of people all paying attention to what you're saying. So yeah, I'm not the most. Well, I was about to say I'm an introverted extrovert, but I think I'm more of an extroverted introvert. Really, I like to keep myself to myself. But getting 1 subscriber was a big thing, and as I've grown more and more in confidence, I've started to have more and more targets. When I first monetized my channel, that was awesome. Even though it was like $1 a month, sometimes 2. It was something, and it was the first money that I ever really earned that was mine from an actual job. Losing monetization was almost the day that I quit, but I thought, why let some dickhead who went to Japan and fucked up, why would I let that affect my channel? Okay, YouTube changed their policy, and I'm actually in favor of the changes. I think they were the right thing to do. A lot of people don't believe that. A lot of people seem to think YouTube are out to get them, which is a really, really mentally not good place to be. No, don't imagine them naked, for God's sake. Especially if it's... Well, actually, no, I won't say that. If it's people that you don't want to imagine naked, don't imagine them naked. That never works. No, just treat it like you're talking to one person. That's the easiest way of doing it. When I used to do my first live streams, I just treated it as if I was talking to a person in the room. And actually, I practiced a lot on my girlfriend at the time, doing presentations and public speaking and things like that. She was quite good with that. She sort of allowed me to be weird and random like that. But yeah, just don't be phased by it. Don't be phased by it, because especially if you're one of a few people giving a presentation that day, I can guarantee you're not the only person who's freaking out about it. I've seen videos of people backstage at TED Talks getting ready to go out on stage, and they're freaking out, and the person before them's freaking out, and the person who's just come off stage is still freaking out. You know, we're all the same at our core. None of us like doing public speaking. We're all kind of in the same boat. It's a really good way of just rationalizing it and pushing yourself through it. There's nothing unique about it, which kind of goes against what my channel stands for, but it's what helps me through it. But anyway, yeah, just doing presentations and things like that and doing live streams. Hitting 1,000 subscribers has been awesome. The fact that, you know, this channel is responsible for everything that's good in my life that's happened over the last 6.5 years. Changing my degree, even getting me through my degree, because believe me, there was a couple of times there where I nearly considered quitting. Helping me meet the guys with XVI and getting involved with that. Finding who I am as a person as well, without getting too sort of sentimental and mushy about it. Things like that make a big difference. I'm actually a very weird person and isolate myself a lot, not confident whatsoever. Same here. Same here. Do you know, it was my birthday 2 days ago, and I was given the choice of going out for a meal, going out to greyhound racing, all sorts of things like that, and instead I chose to sit in the house watching football, doing absolute sweet FA. And that was my thing. I've been telling myself for weeks that I just wanted a day of not doing anything. And even then, I actually couldn't keep that up because I spent a lot of my birthday editing videos, and I think I was writing some of the script for Cavier as well. So I can never switch off. Again, people think I'm lazy. I'm not. I'm actually a workaholic. I never truly switch off. I can never just sit down and not do anything. I have to be doing something. I've suspected in the past that I might have a form of ADHD because of that, but I think it's just, as well, just not wanting to stop. Because getting started again is also difficult, so stopping is the hardest thing to do in that case. 10 people watching plus 2 on Twitch. Yeah, I see it's up to 11 now actually. Hello everybody. Welcome to Cities in Motion 2. Welcome to M4J if this is the first time you've been here. I won't do the merchandise spiel again. Eventually though, my my end of video spiel is going to have merchandise thrown in as well, but not quite yet. Well, that's one thing. Never be afraid to make mistakes as well. My outro, the until next time I'll see you soon, that was a mistake, and I nearly deleted that and did it again, but I kind of listened to it back afterwards and it just sounded so natural that I thought, to hell with it, I'll have that as my outro. It's got that unique quirkiness to it. It's not really a thing that anyone would say, and I like that. I do like things that make me stand out from other people. In life in general, I like things that make me stand out from the rest. You know, I'm a hyper competitive person, let's say. I do a lot of pub quizzes with my family, and I'm always having a go at people for getting the wrong answers. I have a go at myself for getting the wrong answers as well, don't get me wrong. You know, football, I like it when my team wins. I have a really miserable day when my team loses, whether it's Stevenage, Newcastle or both. And golf. I used to be a really competitive golfer. It's one of the reasons why I quit. It wasn't so much that I got too competitive, it was the fact that everyone else around me got too competitive and it just wasn't fun anymore. So I was an alright golfer. I had a couple of people telling me I could make it as a pro. Entered into competitions, played for the team, captained the team once or twice, but just fell out of love with it. And again, that happens. Don't be afraid when that happens. But yeah, my outro. The until next time, see you soon. What I wanted to say was until next time, take care, which is what I now say for XVI. But I kind of tripped over my own tongue because I at the time I was doing it, I was thinking of until next time, take care, or just I'll see you soon. I ended up saying a mixture of both. And I just stuck with it. Before then, if I'd made a mistake, I'd cut it. And there's a lot of videos that I don't have anymore because I've deleted them. There's been mistakes. There's a lot of audio issues, or I've said something wrong. If I muck up in a video in the first 2 minutes, I scrap it and start again. Because everything I do pretty much is recorded in a single take. Every video, all the Outer Worlds videos that have gone up recently, all the Euro Truck videos, Planet Coaster, even when I'm doing the voiceover there, it's all done in a single take. And again, people might be surprised by that, but it seemed like the most streamlined way of actually making videos is to do it all in a single take. It cuts down on editing time. I actually don't like editing. Whether I'm good at it or not, I don't really know, but I prefer not to do it if I can help it. Sometimes I throw myself into it, and like there's some videos I'm working on at the moment where I actually kind of look forward to sitting down and working on them, but more often than not, I just want to get it done and rendered and uploaded as quick as possible. My autism does not help. I often feel I live in my own world. That's why I like your channel, similar people to me. Yeah, I've had a lifetime of that. I'm pretty sure I'm not on the autism spectrum. I've had suspicions in the past, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. But things like, not just railways, but when I first got into theme parks and roller coasters, it became very obvious very quickly that I'm the only person in my family that gives a damn about roller coasters. And you do have that moment of realization that there's no one you can talk to. But at the same time, you have that moment of realization of, so what? Doesn't mean I don't have to be interested in it. You know, I try and take an interest in other people's interests as much as possible. You know, I can talk to my brother about golf and different games that I might not be interested in. Golf on TV is one of the most boring things in the world, but I still try and take an interest in it from time to time. You know, it's a kind of selfless thing to do, is to actually care about other people's interests above your own. But I get it. You know, railways aren't the most interesting thing in the world to everyone. Roller coasters as well. Or I have this thing where if I find out about something new, I then have to know about it as much as possible. So, like the play that goes wrong I talked about earlier. The second we came out of the theatre, I was on Wikipedia trying to find out more about them. Mainly because with things like that, I want to find out if there's a back catalogue of stuff I can watch. But you know, Marvel films as well. When we're sitting watching the credits roll, I'm on Wikipedia, checking I haven't missed anything. It's kind of obsessive, but it's just me being interested. I like behind the scenes stuff as well. So if I see a behind the scenes video on YouTube, chances are I'll watch it. I'm just into that stuff. It's one of the things I want to promote really on my channel. Is there's nothing wrong with that. Some people might have autism, some people might have just obsessive compulsive personalities, whatever it might be. There's nothing wrong with it, and never make excuses for it either. Be who you are. Some people might not like it, and fuck them. What difference does it make? You might have a few times where you're on your own and it might feel like it's hopeless, but at the end of the day, I'd rather be surrounded by genuine people than fake people, and if that means I'm not surrounded by anyone, then c'est la vie. Although, one thing I don't like is when people use mental health as an excuse for things. Because, you know, you might do something dumb, and you might try and blame it on a mental health issue, and all you're doing is trivializing that issue. You're not making people feel sorry for you, you're making people feel resentment towards those with that condition. So don't do that. Don't be that person. Yeah, I think we're coming to the end of the stream, guys. We're coming up to 1:45. So last call. Any more comments or questions or anything like that? Speak now or forever hold your peace. We got some pretty decent tram lines built in tonight, actually. I'm quite impressed. Considering at no point really have I been paying attention to what I've been doing here. Got some metro trains running underground there. Yeah, some of this network I think was my best work, and a lot of this was the catalyst for OpenTTD as well, and doing some of the stuff in there. But then there's also a lot of this stuff that I would rebuild given the chance. Some of these lines where it just loops around nothing, I'd redo a lot of those. But then the hub designs, as I said, the rat house, it looks chaotic. Like if I go into underground view again, it looks chaotic, but everything is structured. It's designed to work. Like all these stops, they're all lined up so that vehicles can get in and out as quick as possible. It's all built in a loop system for that reason as well. The way that it connects to the water bus and all that kind of stuff. Thanks for the advice. No problem. No problem. It's what gets me through the day. Yeah, even now I don't particularly enjoy having to speak publicly about XVI, and I always trip over my words. And again, that's something I've learnt just to deal with. I used to speak pretty freely. You know, I used to have lots of things in my head, and I would just say them in a way that made sense. Whereas nowadays, I care less about that. I care less about if I, you know, if I have a stutter or if I have a slight lisp or whatever it might be. I don't care as much. If I do it, I do it. So what? And yeah, it just makes life easier. Not having to care. I make more. I make way more mistakes now than I used to. Even in editing, I make way more mistakes now than I used to. But I also don't care about that. The only time I do care about that is when someone reminds me, because I already know. 9 times out of 10, when someone says your audio is wrong, I already know. But I'm either too lazy to fix it, or there's nothing I can do without scrapping the video and starting again. Yes, it's just learning to deal with your flaws. There's nothing wrong with it. You're not a bad person for it. And you know, even on Siege, I get really competitive. I have to tone it down a lot. I have very patient teammates. I'm just watching New Tram Square now. There's a bit of a vehicle backlog. Not really sure what's caused that. Seems to be this junction here, and the fact that this road here isn't long enough for more than one tram vehicle at a time. Seems to be the issue, and the loop here, of course. I think it's this crossing here, actually. The fact that buses are turning out in front of trams as well. Kind of works. Yeah, if anyone wants advice, I wouldn't say I'm the most qualified person in the world, but I can certainly do my best. I wouldn't class myself as a motivational speaker, because 9 times out of 10 I'll tell someone to get a grip on things, rather than offering valuable advice. I think, if there's nothing else, I'm going to start wrapping things up. So there is one more 1K stream. It'll be happening tomorrow. I think it's at 6 PM. It might be delayed slightly. It might be closer to 6:30. It depends how long it takes me to get home from the Stevenage match and what sort of mood I'm in. Because watching Stevenage at the moment, it's like hammering nails through your crotch. It really isn't very pleasant. But I hate football fans who stop supporting their teams when they start playing badly, so I'm never going to be that person. I'll support them no matter what. Even if we go down this season, I'll still renew my season ticket for next year. So I will be at the match tomorrow. But yeah, it'll be Space Engineers to start with, and we'll see how it goes. It might end up being 3 full hours of Space Engineers. It might be an hour of that, and then an hour of something else, and then an hour of something else. Or, you know, I'm open to anything. Tomorrow's stream is mainly about chatting with you guys and answering questions. There isn't necessarily a theme that will be happening. But yeah, looks like everything is wrapped up and done. No one else is talking in the chat, so I will start wrapping up the stream. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Like I said, it really does mean a lot. 6 likes as well on YouTube is awesome. No new followers or subscribers, but that's fine, because these things tend to be for existing subs and followers anyway, so I wasn't expecting that many new people. And the sub count has actually continued to rise over the last couple of weeks, which I'm also really happy about. So thank you for that as well. If you are new to the channel, you're just as welcome as anyone else. A lot of people, well, there was one person recently who thought that because they'd been around for a while, their status was higher than everyone else's, but they very quickly found out that that's not the case. And the fact that they're now no longer welcome on anything related to me basically sums that up. You know, it's the same rules for everyone. Whether you're very new to the channel or whether you're a close friend of mine, it's the same rules for everyone. And if you ever feel like you are better than anyone else on the channel, you'll find out very quickly that you are probably worse than everyone else on the channel, in fact. So yeah, you know, it's a friendly warning. Let's say it's a friendly warning. It's the same rules. Code of conduct is on the Discord as well, so you can check that out if you're not quite clear on the do's and don'ts, especially if you are new. But the don'ts are pretty obvious anyway, so again, there's no real excuse for not knowing them. But yeah, thanks for watching. That's where I was going with this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for all of these 1K streams. It really does mean a lot. And it's always great as well that, I know I said last week about just because you might not like a game doesn't mean you shouldn't watch the stream. And it's good that people have actually taken that on board as well. I appreciate the fact that you guys are tuning in for all these streams. And hopefully I'll see quite a few of you tomorrow as well. If you haven't already liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. This stream, I'm trying to remember the exact timeline. So the OpenTTD stream from yesterday went up this afternoon at midday. This stream is going to be queued up along with the other 1K ones though. So I think OpenTTD is tomorrow. So I think, hang on, Minecraft was Wednesday on my birthday. No wait, Minecraft was yesterday, sorry. Train Sim was today. OpenTTD is tomorrow. Football Manager is the day after that. So Monday, I think this will be going up. Monday at 5 PM. And then Tuesday will be the stream from tomorrow. It's really confusing, I know. Basically, It goes up on all my social media when the video goes live, so you'll get notified anyway. Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, it always goes up on there. So just stay tuned for that. But yeah, hit the like button if you haven't done so already. If you have done so, that's awesome. Thank you very much. If you've liked all of the 1K streams, hit the like button twice. Actually, no, don't do that because it unlikes it again. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Just hit it once. But go back to all the other streams and hit the like button there as well if you haven't done so already. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. Get ready for the game. About to pause because I'm about to tab out onto OBS again. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And until next time, I will see you soon.